What's up, guys? Today I'll be giving you my thoughts on Selkirk Labs. This might be the next most controversial topic we've had in pickleball, next to the chainsaw serve. So by now, I think everyone knows the price of current Labs paddles is $333, which is the most expensive paddle we've seen on the market yet. This was met with a lot of criticism online, some of which I felt was quite fair, other bits of it not so much. Selkirk actually has a breakdown on their website of how much each item costs on their refund page that state that the metal card is $33, the case is $88, and that means that the paddle is $212. Now, the downside is that you don't have the option to not receive the card or the case. So regardless, you're going to have to pay $333 if you want to get one of these. Expanding on that, I really wish Selkirk had done more with the metal card. If you're going to say that it's $33 for a piece of metal, at least do something that makes it feel unique or special to the person buying it, whether that's a custom engraving with your name on it, the model number of your paddle, or something. Right now, to me, it's essentially an overglorified thank you card. You're probably going to look at this when you open the package and then probably going to toss it in a drawer and leave it alone because there's nothing that unique about it. Since these paddles are supposed to be more of a limited run, I think it would have been smart for them to add a production number to the paddle and card, and I think that would have been kind of cool to know that you got the 10th 002 that was produced or something. As far as the case goes, I do think the case feels really good, but there's no way I would pay $88 for a protective case. I mean, that's approaching the price of an actual pickleball bag. In fact, it actually costs more than the pickleball bag that I use right now, and I have been using that since I started, and I love that bag. So to me, it's a little bit odd to say that this protective case is $88 when you could get something that you're going to use way more often and holds way more items for your day-to-day pickleball play. In fact, Selkirk sells their day backpack and their team backpack for $59.99 and $99.99 respectively. So to me, it would have been way more useful to just throw one of these in there. Why give us the $88 protective case when it's more than one of your bags and then just like $11 cheaper than one of the other ones? Just give us one of those, because that's something that I think people would actually use on a regular basis. So for me personally, the case and card just became paperweights after a few days, and I have no reason to use them, and I think that's going to be the case for the majority of people who buy this. But I also understand that Selkirk Labs is trying to sell a premium experience with the case and card. I just think it could have been done a little bit better. Now, another comment I frequently see is, oh, how brilliant, Selkirk is literally getting paid for other people to do the R&D for them. Well, I think there is some truth to this. What I failed is why people are so angry about it. To me, consumers are always angry that companies aren't listening to their feedback and suggestions, and now with Labs, you can actually make your voice heard about your opinion of the paddle and change it before it goes to mass market. Now, what we don't know is how much of the feedback Selkirk Labs is actually going to listen to. Right now, Labs is way too young for us to accurately determine if they listen to feedback or not, or how much of the changes that people request will even be feasible. The 001 is basically going to be the perfect example to see how Labs handles feedback. If you saw my review of the 001, then you know that I think this paddle needs major reworking. To me, this didn't even feel like a concept paddle, it just felt like a regular paddle that had a bad texture design and doesn't get any spin. So if Labs either scraps the project or redoes it in a way that makes it better, then I think we will know how much they value the feedback that we're giving. Another complaint I've seen is, oh, this isn't anything new, it's the same as everyone else. There's no innovation. In some sense, I think that is true, but in another, I also don't. Selkirk was not the first to do the hole in the paddle. Selkirk was also not the first to do a super gritty texture or have a power paddle. But you know what? They were the first to do all three together to make something that plays like nothing else that I have used before. The 002 is hitting spin numbers that are wild and the highest I've ever tested. It's much more powerful than what they've had before, and the hole is honestly just too early to know if it's a true gimmick or not. While I've been in pickleball, I've found the community's response to new paddle releases from companies to be very fascinating. Prior to being in pickleball, I was a world-class competitor in speed cubing. I broke the world record for solving the 2x2 Rubik's Cube 3 times, and there's an interesting lesson I learned from there. And I think it's going to happen in pickleball eventually. In 2016, there was this concept introduced in speed cubing about putting magnets in the pieces. It doesn't automatically make the turn for you if you don't complete it, but if you get about 95% of the way there, it helps you with that last 5% to make you more accurate and not lock up while you're turning at insane speeds. When this concept was announced, everyone in the community said, this is a money grab, it's a gimmick, this is a joke, because magnetic cubes were noticeably more expensive than everything else at the time. Well, guess what? Not even a year later after this concept was introduced and all the hate it got, everyone switched to magnetic cubes. All the manufacturers were producing magnetic cubes, and retailers were implementing ways to put magnets inside of cubes that didn't have them already. In 2022, if you use a Rubik's Cube without magnets in it, you're practically made fun of because you're just giving yourself a giant disadvantage. I don't know that the hole in the paddle is going to be the same innovation that magnets were in speed cubing, but I am shocked that people bash companies for actually trying something new when they haven't even given it a shot. And when many of the other companies are continuing to do the same thing with each paddle release with minor tweaks. So I've just learned that it's okay to be skeptical, but you really need to give it a shot first and actually see what you think before calling it a total joke. Another thing that people need to keep in mind is that you'll eventually be able to get these paddles when they make them in mass production for cheaper. People keep freaking out at the price, and then when they talk about it, they act like it's always going to be $333 and it's never going to come down, and that just isn't true. After the testing stage is done, it will go to a lower price for the rest of the market if the paddle was good enough to get that far. So as long as you don't care about waiting to use these paddles, then there's no reason for you to spend $333 to beta test it. For me, Labs is for the paddle junkies out there that want to try the newest tech early and being part of shaping and creating something better for the mass market. So the way I view it right now is you're essentially paying an extra $133 to use the paddle early. For the majority of pickleball players, that's never going to be worth it. But there will be a select handful of people who think this is super fun to be a part of and really enjoy the process. Now, here are some things that I think Selkirk Labs could do to make the experience better for their members. 1. Give Labs members a one-time discount code for when the paddle reaches mass production. This serves as a thank you for those that helped shape the paddle into what it is when it launches. I think they could go up to 50% off without hurting the profits too badly. This to me feels like a good way to say thank you to those who helped develop paddles and took the time to help you. Or even just give them a paddle for free. I realize that this is much less likely to happen, but surely there are not nearly as many Selkirk Labs members as there are people who buy regular Selkirk products. So I just can't imagine it eating into profits that badly to give a discount code or maybe even a free paddle. Because again, you are being a big help to them by giving your feedback and helping shape what it's going to be for mass production for other people to enjoy. Perhaps give a more centralized location for people to give feedback. Right now, you just have to send in a private forum, and I feel like it would be much better to have a private forum or something where people can discuss and share ideas with each other. Or more of a direct link to Selkirk where you can interact and help them understand your thoughts better. Right now, it appears to just be a form on their website where you submit feedback and then you may or may not hear back. That to me doesn't feel like a very fun, exclusive club to be in. And that's kind of where it starts to feel more like free R&D. Perhaps instead of including the case and card, you just allow people to buy the paddle. I realize that Selkirk wants things to feel more premium and luxury, but I'm just not sure if the case and the card are the way to do it. I think the case has some utility, but the card has absolutely none in my opinion. And with the case being as expensive as it is, that just makes it feel like a profit play. So either take those extras out and just make them pay a little bit more to gain early access to the paddle, or just find ways to provide more value to your Labs members, because your members are providing you a huge service that benefits you quite a bit. So editor Chris here, after making this video, I had one other thought, and that would be maybe Selkirk Labs should make this more of a membership. Because if you're gonna pay $333 per paddle, if you get burned once, like people feel like they have with the 001, you are significantly less likely to risk $333 again on another concept paddle. So perhaps maybe you pay a yearly membership fee. Maybe you pay $300 a year to gain access to Labs, and then from there, you get the paddles cheaper. Maybe you get them for $100. Maybe you get them for $150. Because to me, I just don't know why you would keep paying $333 to beta test paddles, especially if the items they're giving you don't change. If you keep getting the same case and the same metal card, it's like, okay, I've got 5 of these cases and 5 of these metal cards now. Like, what am I going to do with these? And I feel like a membership solves that issue. Maybe you don't have to worry about those items as much, or maybe you can include them at a discounted price, or I don't know. To me, it just seems like if you did this as a membership, that might be the best way to do it, because then it's like, okay, $100, yeah, I might be willing to chance that on a concept paddle, especially if good things are being said about it. But $333 after being burned, I don't know. That's kind of tough. So Selkirk Labs is not for everyone. I would say this is for the 1% of people who really want early access to this stuff and love to try paddles and potentially help shape what the future of paddles for Selkirk is going to look like. But by no means should most people buy this. Let the beta testers do their work and then wait for the mass production model if that's something that actually excites you. I think if Selkirk makes some of the suggested changes I listed above, things will feel much more enticing for everyone, but we'll have to wait and see if anything happens. I think the overall concept of Selkirk Labs is very cool, but the initial launch of the idea has some things that I think could be improved upon. So there you guys go. Those are my thoughts on the topic. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to click like and subscribe down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one.